Shadowboxing with Filthy and J-Dog.
Hello and welcome to Shadowboxing Season 2, Episode 1. We are super excited to be here. My name's J-Dog. I am joined by Filthy, my best friend and constant co-host. Filthy, how you doing?
Going, y'all. I'm doing good tonight, guys. Doing good.
Sweet. Well, we are really excited to get started on the second season. It's the first season of this cycle, but we're just going to categorize seasons by the...
You meant first episode of the cycle, but...
Right. Well, yeah. First episode of the cycle. But also, this season that we're in-game, is the first season. Anyways, we're going to kind of, have these seasons line up with the cycles. So it'll be Season 2 all the way up until we're playing Madden 24. God help us. So, this is going to be a pretty familiar concept to everybody. We've got we're just going to go through the divisions. We toyed around with a couple ideas. We might have a different format that we try out the next time. But for right now, for tonight, we're just going to do what we did, the bread and butter starting at the podcast. We'll take each team, we'll take each division, and in doing so, we'll talk about each team, just sort of break it down, and then probably at the end of it, just have what our impressions for the season start are, and everything along those lines. So before we get started, Filthy, did you have anything for the group or anything?
Anything for the group? Jesus Christ, it sounds like fucking therapy during my teenage years. No, I've got nothing for the group, Mr. Therapist guy. No, we're doing good. I'm excited. I'm happy to be here and be filming this tonight. I know we're starting a little bit late, which isn't unusual for us. But, I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way, and I'm excited to kick this off.
Awesome. Well, yeah, let's just get right into it. We will start with the AFC North. So this one's off to I don't want to call it predictable start, but if you're just looking at rosters, I don't think anyone would be surprised to see the Ravens 3-0, the Bengals 2-1, the Browns 2-1, and the Steelers 1-2.
Yeah, that 2-1 next to my name, though, is really close to honestly being a 1-2 or an 0-3 start.
Yeah.
I let you creep back into that first game. Yeah. I got my ass beat by Bloom, which I learned some things from. And then, luckily, I was able to pull a fucking fumble out of my ass at the end of the one versus fucking Noobs, because he was driving. He probably was going to kick a field goal and win that. Yeah. I couldn't risk trying to go for it on after the false start. At the end of that, I couldn't risk trying to go for fourth down because I was really considering it just to try to kill the rest of that clock. But ended up coming down, kicking a field goal, forcing a fumble. But yeah, that 2-1 for me could be 0-3. I really need to get into the lab and I need to figure out this passing system and stop throwing so many interceptions, because it's gotten ugly and it's gotten me in trouble. I can't hold a lead because I'm just giving the ball back.
Yeah, that's been... You're not seeing this, but on the podcast they're seeing error. You have been disconnected from the league due to inactivity. Oh, now I should probably explain why they're seeing on my franchise screen that I have a franchise. Who would be the one that would notice that? Dark would probably notice that on the screen. I have a franchise where my coach is named Joel, and then the last name is EA Sucks with 3 X's. And the reason is, I think that's the league that I'm playing right now with my, who am I rebuilding? I know it's not the Lions, because then I got them in cold. Whatever, I've got an online offline. And I can't put my own last name in there because it gets flagged as profanity. So, when I was like, you're shitting me, right? This is a joke. And I was drunk, and I was like, EA sucks. That got through. It's hilarious to me that my actual last name is profanity, but sucks with SUX, that gets through. Fun times. So, AFC, it's
I mean, so far, Hive's running away with it, dude. He's allowed the least amount of points in that division so far, and he's put up 177, which has me completely mind blown. I'm going to have to go back and watch those streams and watch those games and just be like, how are you doing it?
Yeah.
Like, let me write down some pages from that fucking book and get that figured out, man, because, like... I mean, I put up the second most amount of points in my division right now at 90, but god damn it, we're just hemorrhaging points on the other end, whether it's fucking, like, just me setting them up in really good field position, or just...
Yeah.
I gotta get it figured out, man. It ain't Joe Burrow's fault, it's fucking my fault. Like, I'll be the first to own that. It is not the quarterback. It is definitely the guy pulling the trigger. But...
Yeah, so...
It's not Madden 22.
No, it's definitely...
Boy, oh boy, do I gotta figure it the fuck out.
It's not, and yeah, I'm in the same boat. Hive has clearly figured it out. Like, that's
I might have to hit up Hive and be like, come beat my ass a couple of times. He'll be like, I'll do it when it matters.
Like, right? Yeah, he leads the NFL in points, and it's not close.
Really?
He's got 177. The next is going to be the Chiefs at 137. That's 40 points more than second place.
40 fucking points?
And he also his defense is actually, I mean, it's top 10, but it's not as close to the top as I would have thought.
I don't know if you saw the score. Did you see the Faz ran over Hova? That was like the game of the week on Neon.
Was
the
it?
Whole fucking... It was like 57-0. Yeah.
Yikes.
Oof.
That's well, you'll have that.
You will have that on these big jobs, dude. Fuck, that hurts. So, I mean, you can't count out the fact that, you know, Darth Dad is sitting there at 2-1. This division is going to be a fucking nightmare for about 6 seasons. Like, it's just going to be a fucking bloodbath.
I don't know. I thought that I was like, oh, it'll be fun. I couldn't tell you why I thought that. When I looked at the users, I was like, yeah, sure. I'll come to the AFC North with you, bud. But it should be some close games. I haven't been able to play the last two. We're just scheduling bullshit. And also this morning, I literally, my sleep schedule is absolutely in shambles. So this morning, I just slept in way too late and then was literally messaging Darth while I was half asleep. And I got back to him after, like, the window had passed that we had set up, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to be straight with you. Like, my sleep schedule's jacked, and I kind of was sleeping while I was texting that shit. So, anyways, noobs, if you're listening to this in the morning, that won't be the case tomorrow. I got you. We're playing at probably around noon, Central Time. But, in any case, so outside of that, the game that I played against you obviously was pretty ugly, but, like, not the end of the world. Like, you know, fixable mistakes, but it was exactly what you were talking about. And I knew this would be a problem because in any of the, like, pre-tournament or pre-cycle tournament games that I was playing, I was just, like, throwing a bunch of picks. So, same thing. I have to figure out, I just have to develop new muscle memory when it comes to the timing on throws, as well as...
It's you got to anticipate a lot more this year and throw to open spots is what I'm fucking finding, and being like, we got to get back to like different timing. The timing I'm used to is it's too late. You got to throw shit earlier this year. Yeah, way earlier. You have to anticipate it,
and especially like you've got to know when and how much to use the ball placement and like the exaggerated ball placement. Like it'll come with time.
Yeah. They're good. It's season 1, and like I've been playing more recently because I mean like the game came out, and I got fucking sick, and it was like I was so sick I didn't leave my bed. Like I was either in bed, I didn't play video games, like I did nothing, and I came back and I was like, I'm gonna play Bloom King. Oh, dude. Okay. I mean, that's a pretty good look at the AFC North, though, right? Like, we all agreed this is going to be a tough division. I'm not surprised where anyone's sitting at right now. I think, like, it's gonna be an interesting. Once we start all playing each other, we're gonna beat the shit out of each other. It's gonna be interesting to see how many of us make the playoffs or who wins this division from year to year. Like, I mean, fuck, winning the AFC North in itself, I feel like at this point is like a. Like, you went through that. Yeah. But I feel we can probably move on to the South now, right?
Yeah. I wonder...
Or did you have final thoughts on the North?
No, I guess what I wonder is, are we going to, like, do you think we just cannibalize ourselves so much that, like, I could see a world where only the division winner goes to the playoffs because the rest of the records are, like, you know, not great, but not terrible either. We're going to be in the middle because we're just beating each other, you know? I wonder. I guess we'll see. We'll wait and see. We could do way too early to project winners per division if you want to. I don't think we have to.
I mean, fuck it. If I'm gonna throw it out there based off of what I'm looking at right now, it's gonna be Hive.
Yeah.
177 points for, 63 against.
Yeah. I mean, well, exactly. Like, he's come out of the gate as strong as you can, literally.
Yeah.
And
firing on all cylinders.
Obviously, it's early. You and Darth are both just a game back. I don't even know if Darth has he played either of you guys? Has he played any of us yet?
No, we haven't gotten into division play yet.
So there's that.
I've played you, and that's it.
So it's way too early, but yeah, probably smart to go ahead and say Hive and the Ravens are going to take that. So we'll move on to the AFC South. It's the Colts, Jags, Texans, and Titans, and there's a huge change of pace here compared to what we're used to seeing in the South, and that is that the Titans are at the bottom and the Texans are actually not in the worst spot in this division.
Which is odd to see.
Yeah. It's interesting because, holy shit, they've won a game even though they've only scored 34 points and given up 105. That win had to be a close win. Because those aren't great splits. And the Titans have better splits, but they're 0-3. The game can be unfair. What can you say?
Sometimes bad breaks break that way, dude.
Yep. It's true. It's true.
That's just how it goes. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams in this division are like fucking either rebuilding, retooling, like in that area. I don't see any of these teams as like contenders yet to like where you're not gonna have some deficiencies and some hard times, pulling some things off. The Colts have an okay defense. They have Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. Decent offensive line, but
right.
Matt Ryan's older than sin and his arm's a fucking noodle. They don't really have any receiving weapons there anymore. You know what I mean? With the Colts, the Jaguars, I mean, yeah, they have some nice new pieces, but they're still rebuilding. Noel's gonna need some time with that team to turn it around. Cap has the Texans, our homie Naruto fan. He got some work to do with that team, bro. They ain't really got much of nothing. You know what I mean? They have draft capital and cap room. That's about it. And then the Titans, I mean, like, dude, they lost their best receiver. They have Robert Woods as an 86. That's like their best receiver. Traylon Burks is a rookie. I think he's like 73, some shit like that. So like he can be developed. Malik's accuracy's goddamn dog water, dude. Like they're bad.
Yep.
So, like, it's going to take a while for him to develop. I know he's not using, I don't think he's using Tannehill to start with. I think he was using Malik Willis, too. Like, just hasn't been working for him. All the teams in this division, like I said, they're not in a spot yet where I'm very surprised that they're struggling to compete probably against other teams that they might be facing.
Well said. And then to that logic, it doesn't surprise you that they're close together.
No, because I think every team in this division, most of the players in this division are around that same level.
Yeah. All right, well, that's the AFC South pretty.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
there.
Colts. I'm gonna go Hova for right now with the Colts that'll win that division. I think his team is farther ahead than the other teams are.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, when and how the other teams, like, I guess any of these teams develop. It's really early. There's, 2 games separating the front and the back, although we've only played 3, so to already have a 2-game lead over the bottom is a strong start. But all that say, it's all, they're really close together. So it's hard to pick one person that you think is going to run away with it. For consistency reasons, it's really honestly hard to look at what Noble's doing with the Jaguars and see them as the most stable team in the division. And only being, I'll say it, I think that Noble wins this division. It's
You think
early.
Noel's gonna do it?
Or no, yeah.
Over the long course of the season, like this
Yeah.
is gonna change up from being the Colts. I mean, because I could see that too.
It's
And the
just
one thing that I think Noel has advantage cycle wise is he's got a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like as long as he can develop Trevor Lawrence, he should be absolutely fucking fine.
Yeah.
Whereas Matt Ryan, realistically, how many years you getting out of Matt Ryan before you gotta figure that the fuck out in Indy?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Texans, they're gonna probably have a couple top picks. Hopefully, maybe Cap can get his quarterback there. Maybe get something.
Yeah.
And then the Titans with Pomp Daddy. I know Pomp had a rough time last year. So with the Bengals, so we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he gets it turned around and starts doing some things. 0-3 isn't the greatest start, but he also got saddled with the Titans.
Yeah.
Early on,
right.
So it's. Oof, you know what I mean? That kind of hurts him a little bit. I think he's going to have to develop that team up a little bit before he's able to do something with him.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, AFC East. We have a really strong start from the Bills.
Ooh, there goes Jay Smooth. Right out the gate.
The gate. Jay Smooth is tearing it up with those Bills that he got. It was really early. Were they the first overall pick?
They were the first pick. Yeah.
Yep. Or no. Yep. It was Bomber. He took the Eagles, remember?
Oh, that's
the Bills
right.
were the second pick.
And then they went right to Jay Smooth, and he took the Bills. Like it's.
Yep. You're not complaining about the Bills being there at number 2, and he's doing the Lord's work with them.
Praying by some reason they were there for me at 6, but I got the next team on my list after that.
Yeah, and I mean, I again can't be disappointed with the Bengals at 6 either.
No,
I don't think, anyways.
But we're talking about the Bills, and we're talking about the East.
Mm-hmm.
So 3-0, hot start by Jay Smooth, man, coming out the gate firing, 115 points for, 49 against. And you can't fucking argue with that. You know what I mean? That's like what 60, 65 points almost more than what he's got against. Shane kind of having a rocky start, but I know, like, dude, Tua's just bad.
Yeah, you want to talk about dog water.
Dog water quarterbacks, man. Fucking Tua's the yikes, dude. So I know, like, that offense, I feel like he's going to struggle this year. Honestly, I think the best thing for Shane would be if he got a top 5 pick and could draft a quarterback, or, like, he got... Tua's not going to be the answer. Cycle long, right? There's no fucking way.
You wouldn't think so.
Yeah, you need a guy that can stretch the field if you're going to be running Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like, that's what those guys do. You need somebody that can stretch
just about all they do.
Defense. Exactly. So they're not going to go up and get it. Like, I mean, they can. I know Tyreek Hill can pull off some crazy shit, but do you really want to be throwing jump balls to Tyreek, or you want to throw jump balls to a 6'5" guy in this year's Madden? Because I'm going to take the 6'5" guy.
In this year's Madden, like, Tyreek can do freaky shit. That's all well and good. He's still going to get bodied by guys that are 6'1". It's just the way the game runs.
It's just the way
not every single time, but I would say the vast majority.
He's a weapon for sure. I'm not discrediting it at all, but like I'm not as scared as Tyreek and Jalen on the Dolphins as like Tyreek and Mecole on the fucking Chiefs.
Yeah.
That scares me way more with fucking Mahomes or like a Josh Allen or even a fucking Rodgers throwing them the ball. I'm like, oh, fuck me. Whereas I'm like, I see Tua. And I know that's my opponent this week. That's exactly what I'm playing. So
nice.
Be interesting to see if he makes me eat these motherfucking words.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try to hit him up when I'm done with this and play him before he sees it.
Yeah, there you go.
Noobs and the fucking Patriots are bringing up the fucking ass end at 0-3 apiece. I mean, the that Patriots team is so devoid of actual talent.
It's bad.
That's not like Mac Jones probably isn't the actual future there. Yeah. The Jets, I think Noobs is just off to a bad start. He got super unlucky with a fumble against me in his last loss, like right at the end. So he's a couple of plays away probably from not having that record. He could at least be 1-2. I don't know about his other 2 games. I don't think I caught those. I've been so busy, but
yeah.
He could be in there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I saw the end of your guys' game. That was obviously a really close game. So I'm sure a few plays in that game could have turned it. And then you're looking at that difference. I'm sure that in all of their cases for the bottom 3 teams, you could make that argument. Smooth probably can't say that, 1 or 2 plays in any of his games would have made the difference. Maybe he can, I don't know. But I would think it'd be more likely for these teams that are down here at like 0-3 or 1-2.
Yeah.
So, and again, like we said, and we'll continue to say, it's early. So, these are the starts that these teams have gotten off to, but it's certainly not where... Well, I mean, no, because there's a Patriots user now. I was going to say, well, the Patriots were a CPU, I expect them to continue to lose, but now it's just all up to what the new user that's got the Patriots can do with them. And then, like you said, yeah, rough start for Noobs. I've got him tomorrow, so that should be.
Here's the thing too, though, is like cycle long, Noobs will develop.
That New York
team.
Well, and I guess that's what I meant to say there, and I guess just lost my train of thought. Was I don't think that's an 0-3 user, so
no, God no.
I'm assuming some of this stuff to change as the season goes on. But we'll see. We'll have to see who gets there. Obviously, again, it's way too early to predict, but I don't think either of us are going to take somebody that's not Smooth in the Bills.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as of right now, it looks like he could potentially run through this division.
Yeah. That looks like it'll be I don't know. There's a lot of high-end talent in the AFC this year. Was last year, too. Last cycle. All right. Ready for the AFC West?
Oh, yeah. The AFC West.
The West. Is as close just about as you can get as divisions go.
No, it's fucking close division.
A lot of offense.
Oh yeah, a lot of points being put up, and like, I mean, look at the Faz is 2-1 right now. You got 3 teams at 2-1. You got Faz at 2-1. You've got Seals at 2-1. I don't know much about our Broncos user. It's Coach B. That's like Jay Bunting, I think. I think he's one of Shane's guys. Okay. You've got a Broncos at 2-1. Dark, sitting at 1-2 with those Raiders. I know he's struggling a little bit too, man.
Yeah,
he's another person I've heard him say it, like he's just struggling right now. Which I fully expect him to turn that around. Dark's a competitor and he'll learn the game.
Yeah,
like same as you or I will. But look at Seals, man. Like, I mean, this is obviously way too early, but I'm hyping this train up with Seals and the Chargers, dude. Because I know he didn't have the best record, man, overall through the 2 seasons of TSR last year, with that Dallas Cowboys team. And I don't know, maybe the Chargers just fit his style a little bit better. I'm not quite sure. But it's kind of cool to see, like, he's had a decent start, like, right off the rip. And I mean, it's way too early to say anybody's in there, but 2-1, like, it's neck and neck division so far.
I agree, and I think it's really cool to see the Broncos just as a franchise where they're at, because I think, when we were doing our tier list, none of us valued the Broncos all that highly.
No, they're a team I kind of liked, but what scared me off was that aging defense. And Russ is your cycle quarterback, but I'm just not a fan of what Russ was. Just not a fan. Not a fan of his, like, what he is inside of Madden.
Yeah.
So I would take Burrow over Russ in Madden 100% of the time.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's like you said, it's really tough. It's tough to call who you think will win. I realize it's really early, so it doesn't matter if these are hilariously wrong or not. But again, for what it looks like on paper, I don't like. I'm proud of Seals for being 2-1, but if of the 2-1 teams, he's the one that looks the most like he doesn't belong on paper. Because the points for and against are close. Now, granted, 2-1 with those points for and against, that's a reasonable record because he does have more points
right now. Is that Broncos team though?
Yeah,
or points against? I mean,
yeah. 54. Well, and that's just it. And the most points is the Chiefs, and they both have a decent gap between their points for and their points against. So, I'd have to think that if I'm gonna pick one of those 2-1 teams, it won't be the Chargers just because of how close those splits are. To be honest with you. And outside of that, it's like, okay, well, it's Faz. How do you pick against Faz in this division? Like, he's got a loaded team, or at least, maybe not as loaded as they were when Tyreek was there, but still a loaded team. He still has his deep threat with Hardman. He's got Juju Smith-Schuster.
You got
All the offense,
and Patrick Mahomes.
Cycle quarterback who is, in that conversation, I feel like, with Josh Allen, maybe Aaron Rodgers, as being just the best Madden quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I think we all agreed it was just Josh Allen. But I think that Mahomes is up there,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd take, if I was going to pick the winner, I think I'd probably take Faz. I think that team's loaded. He's scoring lots of points. And I don't know, but I think I value somebody that scores a lot of points more than I value somebody that doesn't give up many points. Because games are always close come the playoffs. You're playing the best people. But the ones that seem to win are the ones that can find plays when they need them. And I'm thinking more on offense. Obviously, you need big defensive stops. But I just feel like at the top level, once you hit the playoffs, I think scoring is more important. I don't know. It's weird. My words are jumbled. But the point being, I value a high offense, high power offense versus a low damage defense. And so by those splits, yeah, I'd take the Faz. What do you think?
Be interesting to see the first time the Broncos and Chiefs match up. I don't think they have yet.
Yeah, that'll be. I mean, obviously that'll be a banger of a game, and we'll have to. Hopefully that gets tagged as the game of the week. What is the game of the week? This week, it's actually Faz has to play Hive. No, the Colts were Hive's team last cycle. I'm an idiot. But yeah, that's the game of the week. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's Hova. And
that was last week.
Yeah, that was last week. Why did I not update? Okay, yeah, and that wasn't exactly game of the week material. But yeah, so we'll see what happens here. Should be interesting. What do you think for way too early?
Faz.
Faz
will win this division. Yeah, I think so at least.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like I said, or like you said, that'll be a really good match when they play each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll know more about how I feel about this division when I see that Broncos Chiefs game.
Yeah, that'll tell us. When do they play? Let me check real quick. Broncos. Damn, they don't play until week 14.
Wow.
And then they play each other four
week
times.
17.
Or twice in 4 games.
It's insane.
That's pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. And then, Coach B has to end the season against the other two current 2-1 teams.
Jesus.
So that's going to be rough.
Talk about a fucking gauntlet.
Or it might not be, if he handles his business. He did just get popped by Fink and the 49ers, though. The Broncos did. Yeah, 41-14.
Oof. Well, Fink's a really good user, though. That doesn't surprise me all that much, to be completely honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can move on to the next one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, fucking on to the NFC, dog.
On to the NFC North. So, Packers, Lions, Bears, Vikings. Again, if you're just looking at rosters, not considering users, I think there'd be a lot of people that were surprised at this result. Maybe not the Packers being one, but the Lions being above, especially the Vikings. Isn't something you would expect.
There's CPU teams, though.
Right,
the Vikings and the Bears are right now. I don't know what the fuck happened to DJ. I missed that memo.
Yeah, I don't either. I didn't even notice that. But regardless, like I said, just considering the rosters, this one looks a little weird. But then, of course, when you talk about, well, actually, there are CPU teams involved, it starts to make a bit more sense. Double rice, no bean with the Packers. Very talented team. I think it was predictable, if not expected, that they might be one of the, premier teams in this division. And then you've got
expected to be.
Yeah. Well, it's good user with a great roster. So
Mm-hmm.
now there's some things that you got to navigate, contracts and issues like that. But at least, for the first season, he's got to be one of the favorites to make the Super Bowl, right? I would think.
Well, 100%. Coming to the NFC?
Yeah.
God, yeah.
And then Lando's got the Lions. He's actually, a 1-2 start. You've given up about 25 more points than you've scored, but like he is scoring. He's got some offense.
Yeah, it hasn't been the worst. And I mean, like he had a lead on Rice, man, like 70-0 or some shit like that, dude, in the start of their game, and then the Packers just turned it on and it was game over from there.
Yeah, that'll happen, but still, I think where Lando's at with the Lions is a respectable place to be because that roster is rough. It's young. You've got some pieces that will develop, but right now they are not good. So
yeah. And then we need a Bears and Vikings user. So
Yep.
I don't care about talking about those teams. They're 0-3 because no one is home.
Nobody home, and the lights aren't on either.
No.
All right. So we've got the NFC South then. It's Saints, Falcons, Panthers, and Bucks. So, really, I mean, good defense out of the Saints and the Falcons to start the season.
Well, I mean, that's Gouda.
Low scoring points.
That's Gouda and Q, respectively.
Right. So it's
doesn't surprise me to see the Saints, doing well. It doesn't surprise me that Q Pierce has a shit Falcons team at 2-1. Like,
yeah.
you're talking about decent users. With Gouda, I think he's got the better team. But
Yeah,
Q
I agree.
Pierce is just Q Pierce when it comes to being a Madden user. So that Falcons team will be gritty. Like,
Yep.
they won't have a crazy losing record. Buster fucking doing okay, dude, without goddamn Baker.
Yeah. He's
Got
starting
him
Matt
at 2-1.
Corral, right?
Mm-hmm. And then Tiny at 0-3 with the Bucks is like, oof.
Yeah, that's rough because, like,
That Bucks team's loaded.
they're
Like,
loaded, and
the
they
Mutt
also...
Bucks.
Right? The Mutt Bucks.
Like...
But, like, they also, they've got the pieces now to win. I don't know so much about what's going to happen down the road, but, like, this roster should be winning. So an 0-3 start is
That's
rough.
not good.
It's not good,
That's
and
a huge red flag.
nobody knows what is even going to happen with Tom Brady. I think...
I mean, hey, he loses enough games. You draft one of the two top 5 projected, but you gotta hope they actually devel and fucking pan right.
Right?
You might be struggling for a couple of years while you're trying to find your quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. That's the fucking boat that I'm in. Because I don't think Kenny Pickett is the answer. It's hard to look at that and be like, yeah, I'm going to win with you.
You can be Joe Burrow's backup.
Yeah. I mean, he can be my backup. Like,
He can be my backup.
So
I
yeah.
just thought about that fucking commercial with Cam Newton and the kid. Be your mom's favorite player?
Be your mom's favorite player? And he's like, whoa.
Whoa. Yeah, dude. It was great.
I'm so
All right. Yeah, man. I was looking at this division. I think Gouda's off to a great start. I know he did get the week 1 win over the Falcons, or it was week 1 or week 2. I know he got a win over the Falcons. He did beat Q.
That's big.
That is big. That's big, especially when you could come down to tiebreakers and what have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Saints team is ahead of all these other teams. So unless Gouda really trips up and starts losing, like, if he can keep the pace he's at, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But if he trips up and starts losing, then I could see Q catching him.
Yeah.
Maybe Buster. Maybe Buster might make me eat my fucking words.
He's in there, and you have to think too. I wonder do we know who Q Pierce is using for quarterback? Is he using Desmond Ridder? He has to
I believe
right?
so.
Ritter's the
Right.
best quarterback. So what I'm trying to say is Corral, of these teams, Corral is only going to get better. He's not like great right now, but he will develop. So if Buster's managing to stay 2-1 in that division, with this version of Matt Corral,
Oh, maybe he's using Davis Mills?
Is he using it in?
I mean, he's played one game with him, 14 at 25 touchdowns to one pick. He's got star deval. Davis Longneck Mills ain't actually that terrible. Can you imagine if he fucking devels Davis Mills into like just this fucking? Oh, that would be hilarious.
Just a world beater.
Right, like
that is crazy.
I want to see the fucking Panthers.
That's
Corrals doing okay.
There's no way that Davis Mills is the better of those quarterbacks.
Right.
There's no way. And yeah, Matt Corral he's doing fine. And again, he's just gonna get better. How old is he? Oh, and he's only 23 too. You love to see it. So yeah, that's the NFC South. I'm gonna pick, if I have to pick, I think I'd take Gouda and the Saints, just because of their early lead.
I'll take at this point too early Gouda. I'll take it.
I think is it gonna shock me if Buster or Q Pierce end up taking that division? Not at all. But if I'm picking right off the rip, I think it'll be him, because I do think that every game matters.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the playoffs by a game at the end of last cycle, and I went back to the other games earlier in the season, and it's like, man, losses that shouldn't have been losses, and you're like, if any one of those had gone the other way, I'm in the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that those games matter. I think the tiebreaker is going to be big, and I think he's got the momentum. Now all that could change, but right now I'd take Good in the Saints. All right, so the NFC East looks at another 3-0, 2-1, 2-1, and this time the worst team is 1-2. So this looks like a really competitive division right out the gate, and of course, we rated the Cowboys pretty highly, I think, on the tier ranking. It's Madden ratings, right? The Cowboys are a great team, and Bloom certainly isn't disappointing.
No, he's been playing really, really well with them. He's only given up 55 points, put up 121. I mean, absolutely smoked the shit out of me. Yeah. Jonesy's playing well with that Commanders team, though. He's got him at 2-1 thus far, and then Bomber, I believe, is still on vacation with the Eagles. I don't remember exactly when he gets back, but I mean, even thus far, to be sitting at 2-1 through your vacation, I guess, isn't all that bad.
Yeah, right? Could be much worse than that. And the Giants are one of those teams that, on paper, they don't have a whole lot of talent. It's young talent, again. But it's not like we're looking at that roster and we're like, oh yeah, dude, they're going to be fucking scary. So, 1-2, not the worst start. It's, you're going to have to develop. I don't remember if they have, I don't remember how Madden handles, what's his face, Daniel Jones's contract. But Daniel Jones, his Madden numbers aren't terrible. They're not amazing, but I feel like he's the kind of guy that I would maybe try to develop. That's what I had started. Oh, that's what that franchise that I have is. It's a Giants franchise, and I think I might be developing him now. I don't even remember. But either way, he's not an awful quarterback. So again, it's kind of like the way that the Lions being 1-2 is, I think, respectable in some ways, especially in Smiles' case when you're looking at the rest of the division, because you got some heavy hitters with some loaded rosters. That's the NFC East. Who you got?
It really just depends on. I'm interested to see when Mad Bomber comes back.
Yeah.
With that Eagles team and what that record is and what the difference is.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, it looks like, and I feel like Bloom King's gonna run away with it. I think the best chance outside of that, though, is going to be Mad Bomber. And since he's only one game back, and I don't believe they've played yet, there's definitely room to make that up.
That's where I'm always like, so much of this could change so drastically. When you're talking about there's only one game between those two teams and they haven't played yet.
Yeah, I mean, we're in week 4 of season 1, so.
Yeah.
It's really early. A lot of these teams, people haven't developed them or kind of turned them into what they're trying to do quite yet. So, like, that takes time with some of these teams. Obviously, some teams are good to go right out the gate, and this division's just got some really good users in it.
Yep, without a doubt. All right, Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Bomber. I think Bomber's gonna win this division. They haven't played yet, and he hasn't been around. Like, I don't think this number to be 2-1, considering those things. I think, yeah, like I said, I'll feel a lot more confident about either team once they play each other. But it's hard. Like, Bloom's had a great start. His numbers look fantastic. He passes the paper track test. And I mean, you played him, so he passes the eye test. So it's hard to pick against that, but I think it's harder to pick against Bomber when I'm looking at the division. Either way, it should be a really, really interesting and fun division to watch. We've got a lot of we've hit the last several divisions have been like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like, I can't wait to see who does what. It's interesting that we found out about that whole Davis Mills controversy, to be honest. Maybe controversy is not the right word. To me it is. It's like, it's scandalous. You have Desmond Ridder and you benched him for Davis Mills? Like,
hey, man. Apparently he's the guy.
It worked out. Five touchdowns to 1 interception.
Right.
Jeez. And then, the NFC East, like, all these divisions are really close. I think it's a great start to the season. But we'll move on then to the NFC West, to the NFC West to wrap things up here. And I feel like this is a little deja vu from last cycle. We've got the 49ers back on top again. They're at 3-0. They've got a phenomenal split. That's crazy. 114 points.
34 points.
Only 34 points allowed. Fink knows what he's doing with that team. I wonder, is that the least amount of points allowed?
Yeah, by far.
No, the Seahawks at 0-3. Or no. I was sorting by points for. I was like, holy, that's a yikes. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, 34 points is the lowest margin by a good amount. Or the lowest total. I wonder, like, speaking of margins, I wonder if that's the biggest difference between points for and points against. There are, well, no. It's going to be Hive with the Ravens. That's an insane split. But yeah, Fink's got the best defense in the NFL right now by quite a bit. And he's scoring a decent amount of points too. Like, not a crazy amount of points, but a decent amount. And good enough to get him to 3-0 and first in the division. And then it goes I like the symmetry. 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0-3. Everything balances.
Right.
But we've got the Cardinals then. Doc is sitting at 2-1.
Which is crazy though, because Kyler broke his shoulder.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So he's gone for the whole season.
That is so brutal.
Fucking rough.
But you're 2-1 still. Is he gonna be out for the entire season then?
Mm-hmm.
That sucks so hard. Like, you're like, son of a bitch.
Right,
one of my, like, 5,
brutal.
maybe 6 seasons, and my stud young quarterback is out for the whole year. That's rough. And then Zevins with the Rams is at 1-2.
You mean Evans?
Evans. Oh yeah.
Yep.
We've been over this, haven't we? He's at 1-2. The way he was handling business in the preseason tournament, I'm a little surprised to see him at 1-2, to be honest with you. But he's sitting there pretty close even are pretty close to even on the points for and against. Just 2 points.
The difference
between.
in teams can become more evident too, though,
Yeah.
once it's on sim and not comp, and
That's true.
I think there's other things that play into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think Evans is bad by any means. It's just that Rams team is a lot better in real life. Maybe not after tonight than what they look on paper. You know what I mean?
Dude, they got destroyed. You
Was
could
close
sum up
at halftime.
You
but
could
then,
say
like,
it was
just there was no adjustments made on
No.
the Rams end after half, and the
No.
Bills just came out and
just
did
blasted
their
them.
business.
You could sum up
Yeah.
that entire game by that Josh Allen stiff arm run. Like,
So nice.
how did the game go? You just show somebody that highlight, and they're like, "Oh."
Oh, right.
So, anyways, yeah, the Rams are. It's a rough spot to be in terms of their roster, but it's also a long cycle. So, and also, it's a 1-2 start. It's not the end of the world, and it doesn't mean the rest of your season is doomed. And then we've got the Seahawks here. Unfortunate start for Fig. 0-3. Is he around? Is he playing these games?
Mm-hmm.
That's rough. 20 points for, 120 against. At that point, I think you're just looking at the drawing board. You know, what's being done isn't working. You gotta try something else before the season's like completely over. But yeah, I think it's, same thing with the calls. It's really hard for me to justify not calling it for the 49ers and Fink, considering that Kyler Murray is not going to be here.
Yeah.
He's such an important part of the Cardinals' success. Maybe a little less now. This Madden, definitely it's more balanced between the pocket passers and the guys that can scramble. But that's the thing, Kyler Murray can do both. He can sit in the pocket and throw the ball. He just also has that bonus, mini get out of jail free card. Not as strong as it used to be, but it's still effective. So it's tough for me to say, yeah, that Cardinals team is good enough considering how this season has started to win the division. And then, of course, it's also too soon to rule out Evans and the Rams. It's early, but you gotta pick it for the 49ers, I think.
Yeah, well, if that point's allowed at this point, I'm not going to bet against him. 3 games, 10 points, 10 points, 14 points, like that's...
Yeah, that's not an accident.
No. Nope, that's just good defense.
Nice. All right, well, that wraps up the divisions, so what are your thoughts on the league as a whole?
I think it's interesting so far to see where everybody's sitting at. You could tell that there's some people last year that were pretty decent that have just not figured the game out quite yet, as well as some others, while there's other guys who have the shit down. So, I mean, it's season 1, so it's early in season 1 too. I think it's really too early to tell, what teams or what users might dominate, going forward multiple years. I mean, you have a good idea who some of those people are going to be, but to me, it's going to be interesting for the guys that are struggling, if they're able to figure out the game or not.
Yeah.
Or if this just becomes like a cycle long up, down, back, for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so far, though, I mean, I'm loving it. The league's as great as always. Everything seems to be running smoothly. We've had a couple early advances. I'm just excited to keep it rolling, man, and keep it going. For week 4, season 1, long cycle to go.
Yeah.
Just getting started.
Yeah. Not like exactly that. I think there's a lot of close matches, or not matches, but like close races in these divisions. I think that's exciting. Just worth noting, I guess, maybe not even, but there are 6 undefeated teams, 4 from the NFC and only 2 from the AFC. So, as far as that goes. Now, again, it's really early. I did just look, and it's not like there's anything that can be done about this for Jace move, or no, I'm sorry, for Double Rice. But the Packers, 2 of their 3 wins have been against the other 2 CPU teams. They've played the Bears and the Vikings, 2 of their first 3 games of the season. So, again, that's nothing he can control, and I know he's a good user. Yeah. But something to consider there. Just the point being, it's really early. So, in the next couple, by the time we record this podcast, I'd be surprised if half of these teams are still undefeated.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Okay, so did you want to... this has been, by our standards, really short. So did you want to, run through just the primary stats real quick before we wrap it up?
Yeah, we could take a look at the top 5.
Yeah.
For, the primaries real quick, and then just wrap it up from there.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. I just want to see who's off the...
make it overly longer than we have to either.
No,
we got done a little early for once. We got done a little fucking early for once.
I, for sure... I'd be okay with a shorter podcast, but I think we're gonna have it either way. Yeah, okay, so if I'm looking at passing, I kind of hate using yards. I think probably rating is the most important thing, or completion percentage, but we can go by yards, I guess. Top 5 are Patrick Mahomes, no surprise there. Justin Herbert, no surprise there. Derek Carr got the upgrade. He's got Devontae to throw the ball to. Lamar Jackson and Matt Stafford. Jared Goff is 6th in passing. That's worth noting. That's not a place that I would expect to see him. That's for sure.
Not at all, to be honest with you.
And Pickett is 7th. Look at that. Who knows? Maybe he turns out and isn't trash. For touchdowns, that list is basically the same, except that Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers sneak into the top 5. And interceptions. Well, that's part of how the Bucs start off poorly. Tom Brady's got 18 picks. Shane's got 18 picks with Tua. So I promise he does not think that Tua is the answer. And those are the numbers that jump out at you, but you notice a ton of people are in double digits.
Yeah.
I would almost certainly be in double digits if I didn't have a couple CPU games in there. It's a new cycle. The engine is different. You're going to see these numbers. And, at that, interception numbers were generally always higher in these leagues than they are in real life. So, numbers that might look a little worse than they actually are. So yeah, those are your best quarterbacks. In terms of running backs, it's Derrick Henry for yards. It's Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Kamara, and Joe Mixon. All numbers that I like. People that you're not surprised to hear that they're in this conversation.
Mixon and Henry are averaging the same yards per carry, though.
Yeah. Where? Yeah. 7.4. Which is crazy, because usually, well, I don't know, I guess. Henry obviously is a really good running back, but I feel like he's like a volume running back, but he's hitting those big plays too. Averaging 7.5 yards per carry. That's crazy. Mixon too, as you pointed out. That's like, if that's your primary halfback and they're averaging 7 yards a carry, you should be running the ball often. And these are teams whose identities are basically built around running the ball. High fumble numbers, though. Mixon's had 3. Nick Chubb right below him's had 3.
No, those 3 came in one game.
Which is, like wow, that sucks. That is just Madden telling you you're not allowed to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that game was a whole ordeal.
For touchdowns, Dobbins has 9 touchdowns through 3 games. He's averaging 3 touchdowns a game. That's impressive. Ezekiel Elliott, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, and Isaiah Pacheco? It's definitely Pacheco, right?
Something like that.
I don't even know. Somebody correct me how to pronounce this guy's name. But look at him go. Ricky out of Rutgers is tied for essentially second, because all these players have 5. Receiving... There it is. I called it out when Derek Carr was up there. Jeez. Davante Adams leads. I saw C. Johnson, and I was like, what the hell? There shouldn't be allowed to be a Colin Johnson. C. Johnson is reserved for one man and one man only. Davante Adams, though, has 100 more yards than the closest receiver. And he's got 491 receiving yards. And Carr has 959 passing yards. So literally half of his yards in the air, more than half, are going to Davante. If there's one player that you should probably make sure you take out of the game, it's Davante Adams. If you're playing the Raiders, that's crazy. And then Colin Johnson, he's at 391. Robert Tonyan, look at Double Rice balling out with his tight end. Has the third most receiving yards. Like, that's crazy. And frankly, might be what the Packers' actual season looks like. Because I don't know who they're going to throw the ball to. But we're sitting there, and he's got 332 yards receiving with the tight end. And then we've got Keenan Allen is in fourth, and DJ Shark Jr. is in fifth. So again, it's really early, but we do have some standouts here. Really interesting to see Tonyan as a tight end at number 3 in receiving yards.
It's pretty fucking wild.
And he has better average yards per reception than Davante Adams. It's wild. Colin Johnson's averaging 30.1 yards per reception. And he's how tall? 6 foot 6 inches. That's a deep ball guy. Adams is leading in touchdowns. Johnson's got 4. Pitts has 4 right behind him. And then there's a bunch of players that have 3. Including Christian Watson. I wonder how he is in Madden. I haven't played with him. I would imagine pretty good. Guard, like offense, blocking, there's not a whole lot to look at. You could just look at the guys that have given him a ton of sacks. But there's not really a whole point in that. There's a lot of offensive linemen that haven't given up a sack yet, and that's pretty cool. Good for them. You want to start us off on the defense?
Yeah, sure. I guess like total leading and total tackles right now is Miles Jack, followed by Eric Kendricks, Awusa Kermoa of the Browns, Gruger Hill of the Texans, and then Kenneth Murray Jr. Well, I mean, it's tied at 25. There's a couple of those guys. Jayon Brown's one of them too. These are always interesting numbers to me. Max Crosby of the Raiders is leading in tackles for loss right now with 11 through the first couple of games of the season. Rashawn Gary of the Packers has 9, and then there's like just a fuck ton of guys tied at 7 right behind that. Sack numbers, Nick Bosa's leading the league with 6, Micah Parsons with 4, Rousseau with 4, Gary with 3.5, Thibodeau with 3. So, like, not anybody running away with those numbers. No one, like, racking up tons of sacks right off a rip. For as much as people...
Bosa's averaging 2 sacks a game.
About it.
Yeah, right. He's averaging 2 sacks a game, which is pretty strong, obviously.
Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Williams, the 2 Ravens fucking corner and safety are off to a fucking tear, though. 6 interceptions for Humphrey, 5 for Williams. So far, Jeremy Chin of the Panthers has 5. Chuck Clark of the Ravens has 4. The Ravens are just taking the ball away.
That's insane.
Mass rate.
That's crazy.
15 interceptions
that's 15
between
picks,
those 3 players.
just by 3 members of their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
There can't be any for others. I'm like, I wonder who the next one is going to be. You can't run into one of them soon, right? Because they already... those guys have all the interceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are... Man, that's crazy. That's a no-fly zone right there.
Yeah, those are insane numbers.
And, I mean, that's how you get off to the kind of start that they have.
100%.
It looks like... There have been a lot of defensive touchdowns. Like, a lot of defensive touchdowns. All right. It looks like of those 15 interceptions, 2 of them were taken to the house. Both by the safety, Marcus Williams. All right. And those are your defensive stats. it really is that fast for defense. Like,
Yeah, defense. I mean, you just kind of go down the line of what they are, man. It ain't
Yeah.
that hard.
cool. All right, well, yeah. We're about to hit an hour and 30 seconds, so good timing. Yeah, I guess that's it. Or do you have any closing thoughts or anything like that?
Oh, closing thoughts. Keep playing your game. Keep doing your things, guys, and let's keep making this as fun as it has been.
Yeah.
See you next week for another episode. We might do a little bit of a different format where we look more at like power rankings. We're just kind of trying to kick around some ideas and decide where to go.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, well, thanks to everybody for watching. Hope that you enjoyed it. Like he said, we'll maybe try something new next week. But until then, make sure that you folks take care of yourselves, and if you can, take care of someone else as well. He's Filthy. I'm J-Dog. We love and appreciate all the support. Let us know how we did. And until then, yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Catch you all next time.
Shadowboxing with Filthy and J-Dog.